Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this very special LinkedIn Live event today. Today, we want to kick off officially the IREB Community Portugal, and I'm very happy to be here today. My name is Stan Bühne. I'm the Managing Director of IREB, and I'm happy to have you here. Doesn't matter where are you in the world, if you're in Portugal or anywhere else, for sure you are welcome in this session. For today, let's have a short look into the agenda for the next hour we have planned. So first of all, I would like to introduce you our two ambassadors from Portugal, Moreira and Nuno Santos. Then we will have a short introduction into the AI4RE Micro-Credential from my side. And then we come to the most interesting part on the topics today from Matthias and Franz, who are part of our special interest group on requirements engineering and artificial intelligence. They will provide us some insights from their, let's say, daily practice working with AI and RE. And here already now, I will motivate you to use the chat. Use the chat to ask your questions and ask the experts, ask the ambassadors if you have anything to ask. That's the way how we can communicate with you. And I will show your posts if there is any question that we can directly dig into it. Then finally, we will close this session with a short wrap up. Here already a small spoiler. There will be a nice on-site event in Porto on May 20, but more in the very end, so stay tuned. So first of all, now I would like to hand over to our ambassadors who will tell a bit about the IREB community in Portugal, what's the goal, and about the today's kickoff. Anna, Nuno, welcome, and it's your stage.
Thank you, Stan. Hi, hello. Boa tarde a todos. Bem-vindos. I'm Ana Moreira. I'm a professor at the Computer Science Department of Faculdade de Ciências e Tecnologia of Universidade Nova de Lisboa. And as a software engineering specialist, I spent some time thinking about teaching and researching requirements engineering, the discipline that translates what an organization, the stakeholders, want into something that the team can design, implement, and test. So good requirements are fundamental for architectural decisions, are fundamental for meaningful tests, and in short, are fundamental for good software. Portugal has many excellent professionals in the area of requirements, but we don't have a common platform to share experience, to share why certain things work or don't work. And so the creation of the IREB chapter in Portugal fills this gap. So it gives us the opportunity to connect professionals and companies, to share practical knowledge, to face common challenges as well, and to strengthen the Portuguese market to perform, to do good requirements. So we will achieve this through events, through networking in networking opportunities in Portuguese, as well as closer access to the IREB ecosystem that includes many interesting things, since very relevant documents to webinars to the interesting articles that are published regularly in the Requirements Engineering magazine, and also certification in requirements engineering and digital design. So welcome to the Portuguese community. We are looking forward to building a strong community all together. We hope to see you in Porto on the 20th in the official launch of the community. The event is free, but you need to register. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to see you soon. Nuno, the stage is yours.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Anna, for setting up the stage. Not much more than I can add. So my name is Nuno. I am currently squad with Natixis Bank. All my background has been environment and business analysis. So this has been now for a long time some passion of mine, and it's truly and I'm truly happy that I get this chance to be a part of this community, a community that I believe we were missing for quite some time on the Portuguese industry, whether in the companies, if maybe some companies are not aware of the importance of requirements, or whether they do have, but those requirement professionals felt the need to be able to have a place that they could meet other like-minded professionals. So that's what we want. We want to have a platform where all requirement passionates feel welcome, that where we can network, where we can share anything that we find useful. It's being considered. We are assembling how we can then meet each others in person, as Anna already dropped also, and Stan will do also. So yeah, I'm quite happy to be here. Passing to you,
Great. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you so much, Nuno. Thank you. And as you mentioned, I think it's super important for us nowadays to have this kind of communities, to have this kind of platforms where people could network, where people could exchange about a topic. And I think it's super important. That's why we try to establish this kind of local communities in several countries. And now the lucky bunch also to do this in Portugal together with Anna and Nuno. So I'm very appreciated and I'm happy about having you here. But now let's give me a few minutes to introduce something that we are also really excited about at IREB. This is our new micro-credential AI4RE. I will briefly show you some insights before we come to the, let's say, how to use AI also in other or in praxis in general, before I hand over to Matthias and Franz. But shortly, let me introduce a bit about our micro-credential. Good. Let me shortly set the right window. Okay, I think now it works. Good. Then have a look on the micro-credential AI4RE. So what we, maybe not we in general, but our special interest group, and two of them are Matthias and Franz, have worked on in the last, 9 months more or less, is the micro-credential that has been launched in March officially. And maybe let's first start on what's the idea of the micro-credential. The idea of the micro-credential is to give requirements engineers out there a kind of idea how they could use AI in their daily work, but also create the awareness that when using AI, you as a requirements engineer, business analyst, or however you name your role in your organization, that you're still responsible for the results that you share with others. This means that you create proper prompts, that you will validate the results that the AI is giving you, Doesn't matter where in your process you're using this kind of new tools, this kind of generic tools that we are having, that are really powerful, but they are more powerful if we know how to use them. And I think this is what we try to capture with our AI4RE Micro-Credential. So in general, the Micro-Credential is aimed for everyone who's involved in the requirements engineering activities. Doesn't matter the name of your role, if you call yourself requirements engineer, business analyst, product owner, product manager, or even project manager or demand manager. I think there is something in for you. When looking to how is the Micro-Credential located in the CPRE portfolio, we see here our classical portfolio from foundation to expert, and the Micro-Credential is available for everyone. So this means there's no prerequisite if you want to go for the CPRE Micro-Credential. For sure, it's somehow meaningful to have some idea of what is requirements engineering about, because we are targeting the processes that are the activities that are introduced in the CPRE foundation level, but maybe also the CPRE Micro-Credential AI4RE could be a starting point for you getting into depth into requirements engineering. But if you are already certified, if you are a specialist, or even if you're also an expert, I think there is something in for you when looking to the Micro-Credentials. When going for, or when deciding to go for a Micro-Credential, then this kind is a Micro-Credential is targeted for kind of one-day training or one-day preparation. So this means you directly see this is a kind of compact learning unit that's directly tailored to requirements engineering and the support of AI in their tasks. And the credential that you will receive after you have passed the examination is a digital badge that you can also add to your CV and also share with others. This is a proof of your competencies in AI for requirements engineering. And due to the fact that AI is changing quite recently, we decided that this has a kind of validity of 3 years. This means after 3 years, this kind of badge is not valid anymore. But I think this is quite feasible in this area. Just giving you a short overview what is covered by the AI4RE Micro-Credential. So as already mentioned, this is designed for a one-day prep course of 6 to 8 hours, approximately, depends on the way or on the amount of, let's say, learning and doing in this course. And so first thing is about the basics of AI. Then there is something about large language models. This means the first 2 sections are a bit more about theory on AI. What is AI about? What kind of AIs are out there? What could be used? What is good for what? What are large language models? And what is a REC? Something like this, just to give you some brief overview that you know with what kind of tool you are operating. Then there's a section about prompt engineering. Then we for sure talk about risks and responsibilities that you face when using AI in your requirements engineering work. And the major part is about use cases where you can use artificial intelligence in your requirements engineering activities. Could be elicitation, documentation, but also validation and management. There for this different kind of core activities is a description what could be supported in what way with using AI. And for sure terminology, if there's no glossary as of now, that's part of the CPRE. There's a dedicated glossary for AI that's part of the study guide. Study guide is already available on our website. I will just add a short QR code if you like to scan. I will keep it for a while, so just don't be stressed. This will show up also as long as Matthias and Franz will talk. So just scan it and have a look on the website for this micro-credential. This is already all from my side, and now I'm super excited to hand over to our experts in this area, to Matthias and to Franz. And as far as I remember, Matthias, you will start.
Yes, I will, or I try at least.
Yes, I will share your screen.
You have to share it as well. Perfect.
Yes.
Thanks for that. Hopefully everybody can see something. Try to fix it a little bit more. So yeah, hello, I'm Matthias. I'm just had a training today regarding the micro-credential, which Stan introduced to you. And so it was a quite intense but really good training today. And I just have, I wanted to show you a small piece of this training. But first, some words about me. I'm originally have studied computer science, and I have worked in the industry. And after that, I worked in startups and have grown up some startups as a CTO. And from both worlds, I recognized, okay, we have to address requirements and have to do more requirement engineering. So I started to give trainings for IREB requirement engineering, and I have developed this AI for requirements engineering training as well. And yeah, I'm happy to connect. So you see my contact in the stream anyway, or you can just scan the QR code here. So what I've with me today, so a rough overview about our training Miro board for this credential, which we have done today. And I have just cut out some special use case for us today regarding elicitation, especially with the tool of surveys. And all the time, if we elicitate requirements with the help of a survey, we face some kind of issues regarding how to produce a proper survey. So for that, we can use this AI as well. We have some examples in the training as well. But this use case here is especially for the results of the survey. Yeah? And depending on how many people join our survey, we have a huge amount of data which we have to scrape, which we have to read, especially if we have some free forms where the people and participants just can enter their thoughts or whatever, some text areas. And so it's getting pretty exhausting to get the data out of it, or to get requirements out of it, or to get any numbers or ideas out of it. Yeah? And so with AI, and if we use AI in a proper way, with high quality prompt engineering, we can save a lot of time. And today I don't have some results with me of a survey, because I just not have any stakeholders or service to send around, but I have some comparable with me. We offering an AI developer bootcamp where we train software developers in using AI efficiently, so that they just not only learning vibe coding, but they will really learn vibe engineering with proper guardrails, and so to train and to steer the AI in a proper way. And every week we ask the developers how the week was, how they used AI or not, how the AI speed up their work, how it was, and especially not only for using AI or efficiency, but as well if the course elements are okay, or if they have ideas to make them better. Yeah? And depending on the participants, amount of participants, and over 12 weeks, we had a lot of data we have to analyze, and we have to analyze it every time and after every bootcamp. So we have thought, okay, we will create a really huge prompt for that, and it's so huge that we cannot put it here on the Miro board because there's a text limitation or whatever. So we have our prompt in our Notion, and we will do a live demo in a minute. But to give you a rough idea, so we throw in all the data, and then we ask for some statistics or diagrams, or which we can send around to the C-level or to the managers to tell them, hey, here's the progress of your team. They have rated the modules like that. We optimize our sessions for the next group of developers. And it's not only the ratings, it's as well the findings from the text areas, where the people just enter their thoughts and ideas. So the AI will just scrape all the data and figure out what points was given most of the time from the participants, and give us some statistics and ideas what the people would improve or not, or which use cases or demonstrations we can improve or not. And depending on the amount of data and course elements, this can be tiny elements like that, or they can get pretty large. And if you have questions, just throw in. I don't know how it works here, if it's working via chat or I don't know. But if there are no questions, I go ahead.
It's working via chat, yes. So if there is anything, just use the chat. I also just
have a look on it. Yeah. Now I've just opened the chat as well. Well, so let's go into it. My prompt is hidden here in the Notion. Like I told you, it's a quite long prompt, or quite. Let me just check if it's the right one. Yes, it's the right one. Therefore, in this prompt, we really define how we want to the statistics look like, so that it's pretty nice to have just to get an idea with one look how the improvement of the developers is, or how the whole developer bootcamp is going on. So we really can play around with the colors and the arrangement, etc. So it's I don't know, it's version 25 or something like that of this prompt, but this one is working pretty good for us at the moment. I have already prepared the CSV file, which with all the results of the participants. I just throw it in here. This is RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. We just put in the file here with the content, and now we put in our prompt as well. Claude is most of the time just taking large input as pasted elements and not as text itself. But anyway, we use most of the time we use Claude for nearly every task we do. So we have left ChatGPT behind us. And we are pretty happy with that. And the Claude Opus 4.7 is out. So new model, new ideas. But I will go for with the old one, because I've tested it with that. And from time to time, a new model is not better than the model before. We have seen big issues as OpenAI has released ChatGPT 5.1 or 5, something like that, and a lot of our custom GPTs broke after this model update. So anyway, we go with the old one because of the time-consuming. So the model is really need a lot of time to produce this. Views here for us. I've prepared a little bit, and we can come back to that later. But you see here this exactly the same prompt and this exactly same CSV, and we come back to the previous chat later if it's ready. But there you see the rendered dashboard KPIs where we can see the progress of the developers from the left to the right. Should be getting more green, so it's old data, and there we have some statistics, how many participants have crossed use case 7 or where they stopped or what they have commented in the free text fields, etc. And then we get some statistics about how many people has mentioned some technical limitations or the quality AI output was not good enough, etc. Or a lot of participants tell me they have to create too much new accounts. So I mean, they have to create 7 accounts in 12 weeks. I do that mainly in a half of a week. But so we get a lot of insights here, and depending on the prompt, we can get really good overview about whatever statistics or data we put in. So we ask for different views here, yeah. And to be honest, the source of data I've used, it's a pretty old one and it's not complete. But I guess the idea behind that is clear, that we can use a normal large language model with just one Excel or data source in combination with an elaborated prompt to get proper output, and this is repeatable, and therefore we get this statistics every time we finish a bootcamp and can send around to whatever who wants to have a look on that. So I guess our previous chat is done as well. Looks a little different, but yeah, we are talking about generative AI, so the output is slightly different or every time we generate something. And this is a point where we learn a lot in the training as well, to kind of control this generative aspect of the whole thing. Because every time we generate something, it's a little bit different, and it's pretty hard to make it really on point to do every time exactly the same. But there we can adapt our prompt a little bit and to get better results in the end. So that's my demonstration. I hope it helped you a little bit and motivated you to maybe use large language models to analyze your data, for example, from some surveys. Thanks. Happy to answer questions.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions from the outside? As mentioned, please use the chat, so don't be shy. Just type your questions in the chat, and we will be there for you, and we'll also answer your questions. Maybe before we go over to Franz, I will take the opportunity to ask a question. As you have shown, I mean, this is the interesting part for sure. I mean, anytime we are creating results, they might look different. Let's say that's the nature of these models. And how do you handle this, or how can we handle this in whatever parts of elicitation where we document requirements? Do we say it's a kind of, let's say, good learning, that we also see there is a slight change? And maybe where are the risks where we need to be somehow careful if something has changed that we did not expect? Do you have some experiences here?
That's depending from project to project and the criticality of the requirements and the project itself. So So at the end, we never should take a result of a large language model as it is and send it out without kind of control it or quality checks from our side, because at the end, it's our name which we send out the results from this AIs. And so we should always think about what's the output and do a check every time of it. So we can use it as a tool to accelerate our productivity or our speed, but at the end we are the quality gate, and we should never skip that.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. Anna, you also had a question. Do you want to?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi. Very interesting, Matthias. In fact, I have two questions. One is, your prompt seemed quite elaborated.
Yeah.
Could you please very quickly just summarize its main components? And the other question was more like, okay, anytime you run the prompt, you get different results. In your experience, or slightly different, in your experience, have you ever noticed some kind of tendency where the generated results tend to be very similar all the time, or not really?
First question, or first answer. The main part of this long or elaborated prompt is regarding visualization, how to visualize it, with which colors, how to arrange it, etc., etc. So this is, I don't know, 70% of this prompt. Yeah, so we give a lot of styles and arrangement stuff with it. Maybe we could shortcut that if we send an example how we would like to have the output as well. So, and the rest is we describe how the source is built up. So what the CSV or the Excel file looks like, and where what is, to give the AI more information, more help to do the right thing, and not to guess what to do with this data. So and so therefore you have to adapt this prompt every time on the special source you put in, or what should be analyzed. So and I'm just scrolling over the prompt to give you more insight. So yeah, we really address every question which we have asked the developers as well in the prompt, and explain a little bit. Okay, we have asked this and that. These are the possibilities, because most of the questions are drop downs where the participants just can choose one option of a drop down, and so therefore we describe that in detail, and the rest is how to handle the free text forms or data. So summarize it up, cluster it, or count how often this point was mentioned, so to get an idea of how many people has this and that, has wished this and that. Second question. To be honest, most of my time is I'm spending with software developers and software and code, which is given from the large language models. And to be honest, we kind of nearly stopped to read this code because we are not able to read it anymore, because it's too much in too less time. So I don't know if the code is. So for example, if I ask the LLM to give me a code for a function, and then I ask it again to give me the same again, so I don't compare it anymore, because we have one advantage in software development. We have our tests, and if these tests are elaborated enough and pretty close to our requirements, which are hopefully complete, we can cheat kind of. If the tests are green, we are fine, and it doesn't matter how the code looks like. So because we really take the old idea of this test-driven development, and we can do that in real life now, because we don't have developers who don't want to do test-driven, but the AI is doing that for us. So we invest a lot of time in generating huge amount of tests, and put a lot of time in if there's a test, one test or several tests for each requirement. And then if this is done after some days, we hit the button kind of, and because then we have a really hard guardrail where the AI can implement the code with minimal viable code fragments. And so and to get the test screen. That's so I don't know. I guess it will generate this code slightly different every time, but it doesn't matter at this point. So it's not an answer. It's a it's an excuse because I use it in a different way.
Great, thank you. Because we talked about prompting at least a bit, I just also showed the QR code for the AI prompt guide. Also, a part of our special interest group has developed. It's also freely accessible on a conference page. If you as participant want to have a look on it, just also scan the QR code. Are there any additional questions to Matthias? Otherwise, we will switch to Franz. 3, 2, 1, Franz.
Yes, welcome also from my side. Thanks for having me. My name is Franz. I'm a requirements engineer, employed as a requirements engineer. So my point of view is a little bit different since I'm doing my job for the internal company I'm working for and not as a service for customers. So sometimes my problems are a little bit different, and this position helps me in having a little bit different viewpoints regarding requirements engineering. And I want to present to you one of these approaches I did a couple months ago, but I think this is really interesting. It is still about AI and large language models occur, but they're not the main topic. And there's also already a little spoiler in here in the title. Requirements, they are more than text. Usually, most of the time, if you start doing requirements engineering, and especially now when you're using large language models, most of the requirements are going to end up being text. Well, and I thought I was the only requirements engineer in that business area of the company at the time, and I had thousands of requirements to oversee. And at some point, this got really exhausting, and I thought, well, we have AI, and apparently it can solve everything. So why not just give it a go and have a look what's out there? And I'm more interested in non-conventional use cases of AI. So the using large language models, this was the hot topic. Everybody could use it and could generate tons of text in a very short amount of time. But I was interested in a little bit different problem, because I already had the requirements. Those were legacy requirements, and a lot of project teams were still writing requirements with or without AI. They still didn't stop them from appearing in our system. So I didn't have the problem of generating them. I had the problem of analyzing them. And on a little side note, most of the graphics, or I think almost all the graphics except the charts, they are generated by AI. So this is also, it's not a productive, but a very fun way to use AI also. So I thought, well, I have a use case. I want to analyze my requirements, and I need a pipeline. And I had those 5 steps. Not all of the steps were done with AI. I also included some traditional steps, some traditional coding. For those of you who are interested in the more technical details, I added the more technical terms as well. But what I did was I extracted over 5,500 requirements from our biggest projects, to have a solid base that didn't change. So I can try out different things, and I was able to compare results, because as in every company, the requirements in the live systems were changing all the time. After having a solid database, I had a little deep dive into natural language processing. I was trying to reduce the amount of text, but I made sure that I wasn't losing any information, because we know AI, large language models, the cost is calculated in tokens. So if I manage try to reduce the amount of text, I'm reducing the tokens, and I already have an argument regarding the management to use this approach, because I can show them, well, this is what it cost before, and now we're reducing text. We're not losing information. The requirement content stays the same. But it's cheaper now. On the next step, this is where it gets interesting. Creating embeddings using AI. In our case, I was using OpenAI and the OpenAI embedding machine, but you could use all different kinds of large language model providers. What this does is, in one sentence, it converts text into a huge vector. So text becomes numbers. And this is some magic behind this that happens behind the curtain. But what's most interesting about this one, it doesn't change. So if you input the same text, you get always the same output. You get always the same number. And those embeddings are used in the backend of large language models. So if you type in, for example, something into the ChatGPT or the Claude input window, then it converts the text into embeddings, does some magic, gets some embeddings from the magic back and converts it back into text and presents it to the user. But I was using the numbers. And once I had the numbers, it was easier for me to do something with them without having to read over 5,000 requirements. So I went back to traditional programming, and I did some clustering. And my problem was that those vectors, they had 1,546 dimensions. So this wasn't really something I could show people and tell them, well, look at this. This is very interesting. We can make a use case out of this. So I had to do some clustering, some dimensionality reduction in order to actually show something. I will show it to you in a couple minutes. And then at the end, of course, I was clustering requirements, and then I was trying to minimize the amount of requirements, because maybe we have duplicates or duplicate information in requirements, because we have similar projects. We have project teams that were communicating well, and they were writing requirements twice or even three times. And the last step was an experiment to reformulate clusters and actually reduce the amount of requirements we need without losing any functionality. So this is also a short explanation how embeddings work, or what embeddings are. Similar words are close to each other. So the word requirement is a requirement, and the top one, Anforderung, is the German word for requirement. So as you can see, they're quite close. They have the closest distance. As opposite to the word banana, they have quite a large distance. And this was the approach I was using to find similar, or in the worst case, identical requirements. So people were doing the work 3 times, and the company was paying 3 times for the same requirement. And over here, there's a screenshot of the output of my coding at the end, and you can already see there's some very interesting clusters. And I thought, well, this makes sense to pursue this endeavor and try to figure out something. Well, this is now colored by projects. So this doesn't really didn't really tell me anything. That I was like I knew that the red dots, well, each dot is one requirement, and those are just two projects I visualized. But if I just toggle different projects, I already could see some overlappings. Not all of the requirements, but some of them. And so I was trying to, I hope this works now. This should be a video. Maybe I will just share my screen, because this is slide 6. I hope you can you see the screen? Yes, perfect. This is where I'm toggling different projects. And as you can see, this cluster right here, once I'm toggling the next projects, they look very, very similar, if not identical. And once I was just looking into these requirements, maybe just go back one more time to this cluster. Once I got back and I did the manual work of going into the requirements of those projects, I figured out that these two projects, they were in the same product family, but the project teams didn't communicate to each other, and they were developing a functionality 2 times, not just writing the requirements, but they were developing the same functionality for a similar product 2 times. And this is probably the worst case any company wants to have, because if one project team develops a functionality and provides it to the other team, which would have been possible, this could save time and money. So, and at the end, once I had confirmed my suspicion, I did a lot of parameter tweaking. There are tons of existing clustering libraries, clustering methods, identification methods, noise removal algorithms. But this was more a proof of concept to show that this approach made sense. So I ended up with a parameter set where I had 11 clusters. Those were kind of big clusters. They were easier to handle, but harder to generalize. And there were clusters like event logging and alarm notifications, or user management and access management. This is very generic, but it gave us the opportunity to start platform developing, and, for example, have a central development for user management. And they provided or they're still providing the user management component for all the different products. So we are developing it one time. We have to maintain it only one time. And the requirements, they exist only once. So I don't have multiple requirements over different project teams or business areas scattered throughout the entire company. And at the end, this was the last step, almost the last step. Before rewriting them, I did the identification. And this is where I went back to AI and the large language model. I randomly selected 10 requirements per cluster, and I just had a prompt that went like, please identify the cluster, and if you cannot pick out a single topic, just tell me. And some of the example cluster classifications were like data management and or error logging and performance monitoring. So it did make sense. The results, they were promising. And At some point, we took the most interesting clusters because, of course, as Matthias already mentioned, we shouldn't take out any AI output for granted. So we double checked this, of course, with our company landscape, and we identified a couple clusters that were dealt with in a central way and not just within the business areas. And this was all possible because we used the engine of large language models to convert text into numbers. So, and this was the probably not very conventional way of using at least a part of a large language model for an AI use case for a requirements engineer. And this helped me a lot in raising awareness that AI is actually doing more than generating text or throwing ChatGPT licenses at people and saying, well, we have an AI strategy. There's much more behind this. And the key message I want to give you today is that if you don't try out stuff, you won't get anywhere. AI has much more to offer than using input and output window of Claude or OpenAI. It has a large potential, especially for us, since we're dealing with a lot of text. But there's much more behind this that we can use. And if we have different kind of problems, tasks, or challenges, maybe think about it a little bit out of the box and in a different way, and just be curious. And on my last slide, this doesn't have anything to do with requirements engineering, but I was curious. And this is actually a working QR code generated by AI. It's nothing dangerous. It just links you to my LinkedIn profile. But this is something that AI generated. I had no clue that this was possible. And I was just curious and tried to show that maybe thinking outside the box going to give you the advantage in your daily life. So if you have any more questions, just feel free to ask me now, ask me later. You should all have my LinkedIn by now. So feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to make new connections or talk about AI or talk about requirements. And since I'm not providing requirements engineering as a service, I am not interested in selling you anything. No offense to you, Matthias, or any other companies. I'm interested in the discipline, and this is my job, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Great, perfect. Thank you, Franz. And really insightful also these kind of, let's say, data analytics that you're doing, and just giving also the insights that AI is way more than a chat machine. And this could also be helpful, especially for internal projects, to identify if several groups are doing the same thing. And this will, at the end, really save money to the organizations, I guess. Good. Are there any questions? Sorry, Anna.
I wonder, how do you see this being useful to plan software product lines? Because you have been identifying clusters, and the way you talked, some of them seemed like features to me, could be features in a SPL engineering approach. So I wonder.
Yes, most definitely. My vision was or is that if you're writing new requirements, in the background, that the system already checks if there are similar requirements. Mm-hmm. So you get a warning that, wait, this requirement already exists. And mm-hmm. Of course, you need a good infrastructure behind the scenes. You need all the requirements available from the whole company. And if you're in a larger company with even maybe different requirements management frameworks, this is probably the harder task than the coding or the analysis itself. Mm-hmm. So organizing and getting the requirements in the right form was almost a bigger task than just realizing my idea, because I had a clear idea. I'm not a software developer. I used, of course, vibe coding and Copilot and all the tools I got my hands on, but it still produced some output. And so, but this isn't just for any kind of large companies. You can have this running in the background of any existing company, any type of requirement.
Yeah,
it is very interesting. I wonder where I can find more details about your pipeline.
I can provide you with all the kind of details you want. Just reach out, and I'm happy to provide the information.
Fantastic, thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other questions from the people here in the call? Also, I would motivate again people listening us on LinkedIn or on YouTube. Just use the chat to ask your questions. So that's why we are having this kind of community. So don't be shy. There is no wrong question. Just take the opportunity and ask the people who are there. I think that's the way we want to establish for networking. Anyhow, we are coming more or less to an end. And so here, first of all, thanks to Matthias and Franz for their insights. And but we are not finally ending by now. In the very beginning, I also mentioned that we will also have a kind of outlook. So what's happening in future with the community in Portugal, because this here in this online session is just a starting point. We want to make things happen. We want to be there also for you, providing you a platform for exchanging also physically in a place. So I will hand over back to Nuno. He will just give us some insights on the event in Porto that will happen on May 20.
Sure. Well, also, I can confirm that I tried the Franz QR code and I went with LinkedIn. So if if you want to know more about this presentation,
Same here.
Okay. So I'm sharing with you the official page of our meetup on the next May 20th. So we will have an in-person meetup in the city of Porto to officially launch our Portuguese community. Stan was providing you with a link to it. You will have a Portuguese version and an English version. So you will have all the details here. I will just switch to English now. So we will have some sessions again about AI. We will be hosting 2 wonderful keynotes by some people that are on the IREB International, let's say. Both of them on the topic of RE and AI. And after that, we will have a World Cafe session to address things like AI and all the intersections with of RE with business analysis and with testing, and hopefully it will be a more interactive, where we can all have the chance to talk to each other and meet each other, share our insights, and there will be food.
That's true.
And drink.
Most important, thanks for that information. Good food, very good.
Yes, probably good food. Yes, and I think that's super important to have this, let's say, on-site meetings, because then it's way easier to connect to each other, to talk to each other. Sometimes, as we see, it's especially in these online sessions, the interaction is not that huge, but I think when having this on site, and this is a great pleasure having this on May 20 in Porto. So I hope to see many new faces there. So we will be there anyhow, and I love to meet with you in person. So happy to see you on site. From my side, thanks a lot, Anna. Thanks a lot, Nuno, for the for hosting the Community Portugal and for driving this, for giving, let's say, people in Portugal the space to exchange and to network together. And thank you to Matthias and thank you to Franz, providing your valuable insights into AI and requirements engineering. So that's all for today. Thank you all for joining. And as mentioned, this kind of session is just the beginning, and we will see you in many other sessions online and on site. Thanks very much and see you there.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.